I just want to wrap up with a little discussion of the last thing we had back in our form tag. There was an action equal and then a URL, and then there was a method, and I mentioned there was two choices. You have method equal post or method equal get. And these are actually, this is no longer about PHP, this is about HTTP. So not even URL, just HTTP has two types of requests you can make when you make a HTTP request. Well, two major kinds. Get and post. Get says, get me this page. Fair enough. Post says, hey, post these changes to the server. Something along those lines. I'm not quite sure what the etymology or rationale is. And so I'm going to phrase these both in terms of forms, okay? When you have a form, you send these key value pairs to the server, and get and post have slightly different ways of sending that information. In a post request, those key value pairs are embedded inside the HTTP header. In a get request, they're actually up in the URL, and we actually saw some examples of that earlier. And we had a New York Times article or Google Maps URL that included a question mark followed by a bunch of key value pairs as part of the URL. So my first question is, which of these is more secure? If I'm going to go and browse a page, be passing information, which of these is more secure? The initial answer people want to give is post is more secure. Get, I mean, you can see right in the URL, you see the key value pairs being transmitted. Okay. Well, okay, that is more secure for people who might be wandering around behind you. Your roommate comes along, looks over your shoulder, looks at your browser, looks at the URL up in the address bar, and can see the key value pairs that are there. So it's more secure for that. However, information that's being sent across the web, yeah, people who get this request and pass it on to the server, they see your HTTP packet, and they might well see the information, whether it's get or post. Even if it's post, they'll see all that information sitting there. So it's not really much more secure. It's only secure against your roommate walking past and looking over your shoulder. So I just want to, it's a false sense of security. Don't say that, hey, I'm using post, therefore this information I'm submitting is secure in any way. That's not really what you want. Okay. But still, what's the difference between get versus post? Why do there exist two different ways of doing it? If you're going to be going to a party in the next few days and want to, be the life of the party, here, I'll throw out a term for you, idempotent. Get requests should be idempotent. Ooh, what's that? Sounds mysterious, or not. Idempotent is actually a math term. It's a math term for meaning doing it more than once is the same as doing it once. Okay? So in this sense, it means, hey, submitting this request once or submitting it 5 times in a row, you're going to get back the exact same page no matter what. Okay? Post requests are not like that. Post requests, every time you submit them, might have some changing effect. Okay? And again, a canonical example is you're buying airplane tickets. A post request every single post request might actually charge your credit card. And so sending that same request 5 times would probably not be what you want to do. Or put it this way, it might be what you want to do if you want to buy something 5 times. But, okay, so again, idempotent, and I'll just sort of give the math definition. If at this party there's a bunch of, if happens to be a mathematician there that you think is kind of cute, well then here's your chance. Idempotent. F is idempotent as a function means f of x is equal to f of x. Yeah, cool. Now, so an example might be the ceiling function. Ceiling of 2.5 is 3. Ceiling of 3 is 3. So ceiling of 2.5 is 3. Ceiling of ceiling of 2.5. That's ceiling of 3, which is 3. Ceiling of ceiling of ceiling of ceiling of ceiling of 2.5 is 3. Okay, call as many times as you like. After the first time, it's all the same thing. Now, why are we using this weird math terminology for the web? I'm starting to digress here, and if you're pressed for time, if you need to get to that part, you can go ahead and probably quit the rest of this video. Yeah, so math terms, why do we talk about submitting a form multiple times versus a math function? The mathematicians actually think of submitting a form as a function, okay? And you're like, well, Barlin, sure, I guess you can say that of a web server function, the function serve, and it takes in a string and returns a string, okay. But you know, f of x is, that doesn't quite make sense here. But here's how we'll sort of think about it. Think of, well, let me give one more example, not a web example, but another program example of a program that I run it twice. I want it to be the same as if I ran it just once. And here's an example. An installer program. Say I want to install, you know, World of Warcraft. It takes up a lot of disk space, whatever. If I install it twice, like I'm like, gosh, have I already installed World of Warcraft? I don't know. Just run the installer again, and if it was already there, hopefully it's not going to do anything bad. In particular, it's not hopefully not going to chew up a lot more disk space. Okay. Yeah, in that context, X might be the disk. It's kind of weird. An installer program, its input is your disk, and what does it return back to you? A new disk. Well, I know it's the same disk over time, but, well, mathematically you might think of it as, hey, you give me the input disk and I'll give you back a new updated, revised disk. So that's kind of an interesting way just to think about a function. I usually thought of the disk as just being pure side effect. Writing to the disk is pure side effect. By the way, if you really want to be the life of the party, yeah, you can go ahead and talk about this idea of I/O, really saying, hey, if you have output or input, yeah, pass the input stream to the program and get back a new revised input stream, as well as any other results from that function. That's kind of weird. For every function I write, I'm going to add another argument, the input stream, system in or some scanner or something like that. And I'm going to say the return value coming back is not only this the regular return value plus an extra input stream to use in any future operations. The same input stream with maybe a few characters read off the front of it. Or same with output. Think of the output as a disk or a disk file. You give me the output file and I'll give you back a new output file that has even more stuff appended to the end of it. Yeah, that's kind of the nice thing about thinking about programs that way is now I don't have any state anymore. There are no global variables. There's no side effects. It's all what I take in and what I return back. So yeah, if you think that idea is neat, look up the Haskell I/O monad. Yeah, oh, that will get the people of the party. That place is going to be rocking tonight. Okay, enough of why we have this math background name for idempotent. Submitting it twice, and there I guess the input would be the database. You have a database, an input comes in, and I have a new updated input database after you buy the plane ticket. And yeah, if you buy the plane ticket twice, you get charged twice or not. Okay, that's the difference between get and post. If it's safe for somebody to request the same thing 500 times in a row with no problem, make it a get page, or you can make a get request to it. People should make post requests when, hey, any information might change the database. So, and again, if you look on around the web when to use get versus post, there'll always be some smart aleck there saying, oh, use get requests when your page is idempotent. Okay. Why would you even want get requests? You know, why not just so everything might have a side effect? Why have get requests at all? And why are the parameters passed differently? The key value pairs stuck up in the URL. Here's one really cool thing about putting the key value pairs up in the URL. I can bookmark that. I have some neat Google Maps page that has all sorts of latitude, longitude key value pairs that are being sent to that page. Yeah, I can go ahead and bookmark it. I can send that link to my grandma, and she can pull up the same page and it's not going to be charging her credit card because it's a GET request. Okay, so GET things are particularly easy to bookmark, which is one reason why they put those parameters up there. Okay. By the way, sometimes you will see as you hit refresh on a page, and that page came from a form, sometimes it'll say refreshing will cause the page to resubmit. Do you really want to do this? Again, if it's a plain ticket, don't do it again. That's a post request. The browser is saying, hey, you're trying to refresh the results that I got from a post request. If you want me to go back to the server and get that information again, I'm going to have to submit that same key value pairs again. And gosh, do you really want to do that? If it's post, it may not be the same, and your browser puts up that window. If it's a GET request and you hit refresh, the browser knows, hey, no problem. I'll go ahead and return that. I can repeat the GET request, and there's not going to be any harm done. So, okay. I think that's about all I wanted to say about GET and post. That's all you need to know. Have fun at the party.